Hi, I'm Mark Rogers, and I'm here today with you to talk to you about two subjects that will be the fifth lesson in the new shooter series. Two subjects in one video. This one video will be on your posture and your stance. In the guide that I've been telling you about in the other videos, this is two separate lessons, but it didn't make any sense to make two videos to deal with both your posture and your stance, since the two of those essentially go together. So for this video, we'll be talking about posture and stance, taking everything you've learned up here to get on target, and then working on your platform so you're good and solid in your platform to use these skills that you learn with your hands, your arms, and your eyes. Let's go talk about posture and stance. Your posture means from your waist into your hips, your upper body, and how it's positioned when you're learning to shoot. And this is critically important because in all of the kinds of training that you're going to do throughout the time that you shoot, and hopefully you'll continue on to really train with your handguns rather than just stand in one spot and shoot for accuracy, which is important to learn up front like this. But as you do everything, there are certain things you want to happen automatically. One of those things is your posture. You don't want to be off balance. And even with a good stance, you can throw yourself off balance just with your posture. Even though your stance, your feet may be placed right, your posture may throw you off to the point where you simply cannot shoot accurately, you cannot shoot securely, standing in particular ways that I'll talk to you about right now. When we come out and train, there are a whole lot of times that I'll have a gun in my hand and I'll be moving this way and I'll stand like this. I may duck down, I may drop to one knee, I may fall on the ground, I may be running, shooting sideways, but there's one thing you'll hardly ever see me do unless I'm practicing shooting around cover, and that's you won't see me leaning back to shoot. You'll see me leaning into my gun. And virtually if you go watch professional shooters, you go watch competitive professional shooters, you don't see them standing like this shooting. You see them standing with either straight up with a solid platform down here, or you see them bending slightly in towards the gun. Remember, you're not trying to get away from the gun. You want everything going forward with that gun. So it's important that whatever stance you land in, whether it's learning to shoot like you're doing right now, or whether it's running and training, you want to make sure that wherever you stop to shoot, or whether you're moving and shooting, you want to make sure that when you shoot, you're as balanced as possible, and that's going to have a lot to do with your posture. So my gun is empty, it's clear, it's open, no magazine in it. And I'm going to use it with it. I'm going to be showing you this with it open. Shooting from a platform where you are learning to shoot like you are now, you're learning a new gun, you want to be able to take everything that you've learned up here from your grip, your trigger control, your arms, and your eyes, and you want to build a platform for it down here in your waist, your hips, and your feet. Your posture in looking towards your target with everything you've learned up here should basically be here, not here. That's one of the errors that I talk about in the guide that I've mentioned so many times now, is people leaning back. I don't know how many times now, this is not a sexist statement, it's just a statement of reality. Over all the years I've spent on ranges with people, particularly women who are new shooters, have a tendency to lean back. That may have to do with how they're built, it may have to do with personality, I don't know what it is, but women in particular, when they're learning to shoot, have a tendency to lean back, and you'll see some of them leaning back so far they look like they're going to fall backwards. Do some men do it? Sure. Mostly it's women. Some men will shoot like this, and unless somebody tells them and gives them a little bit of corrective instruction, they may do it for years. It's amazing how I've walked on a range with people before and just told them, why don't you bend forward just a little bit and think about leaning into that gun, and watch their shooting improve immediately. So as far as your posture goes, you never want to be leaning away from your gun. The exception to that may be when you're training and you're shooting behind cover and you're training to do something where you may have to turn around and bend like that, that's okay. But as far as practicing shooting, no matter how you're moving, shooting, learning to shoot, you need to be straight up, or you need to be leaning into that gun slightly to make sure that your posture is keeping you on balance when you shoot. Good, strong posture plays into building the foundation for everything that you've learned up here with your hands, your eyes, and your arms. So posture right here, straight up or slightly bent forward to make sure you're leaning into that gun rather than back this way, which will throw you off balance, affect your shooting, and may even cause you to fall down. You've seen probably, no doubt, some of the videos on YouTube, the idiotic videos of small women. It'll be standing holding a 500 Magnum revolver that somebody put in their hands. They'll be back here and they shoot and the gun goes flying through and they fall down. Those are idiotic videos. They never should have happened. They never should have been put online. Nobody ever watching those people should have let them do it, but it happens. But it's a good example of what never to do. My daughter, growing up, when she was 16, 17 years old, could handle a Smith & Wesson Model 29 44 Magnum with ease because she was straight up on that gun. She had her grip on it like a good revolver grip, and that was one of her favorite guns to shoot, was that big 44 Magnum, because she had the posture, she had the grip, she had everything working up here, and she had the posture for it. Posture is critical in keeping your balance and keeping your shooting solid and accurate. Posture. So stance, how many videos and articles and pictures online are there of shooting stances with people shooting handguns? Innumerable, millions probably. But what I know is important from teaching so many people how to shoot is the stance. Now, you can go online and find professional shooters and you may get some differences of opinion there, but in general, if you go on and you watch right now, you watch the best competitive shooters in the world, including Jerry Michalak. If you don't know who he is, go find Jerry Michalak online, and he will give you some perspective on a shooting stance. What he basically does is lets people know that this is arguably the best shooter in the world, lets you know that the simpler it is and the less movement you have to make to get your shot off, the better. Which means a stance should be as simple as possible. Coming into a stance, just like I have right now, is going to be your best option to learn to shoot. This doesn't mean that you can't vary your foot position a little bit. But the bottom line is what you want to be able to do, learning to shoot, is to learn to shoot efficiently. You'll be shooting for probably self-defense. Some recreation, some practice, I know, but if you're looking at this from a self-defense perspective, you want to be able to get to your gun and get it on target and fire as accurately and as quickly as possible. To do that, as little movement as possible is necessary. So standing like this with just a square stance, your feet a little at shoulder width or a little wider, simply bringing your gun up like we've seen with everything we've done up here, bringing your gun up straight out from your chest, straight up to your head, your body moved in slightly, your posture forward, on target. Very little movement. I'm not doing anything. I didn't have to move my head to do this. I didn't have to get in some contorted position to get down here. I don't have to move back and forth to do anything. I'm simply bringing my gun up, getting it straight out in front of me, bringing it up to my eyes with very little movement, firing from this position right here. Slightly bent forward, my feet in a very solid position, shoulder width. Now, in this position right here, if you get in this position right here and you get your step, a lot of times people get off balance even this way because they lean back. If you get in this position right here, you're standing straight up and you're bending forward slightly and you feel like you still need a little more stability, put this foot back a little bit. It doesn't hurt a thing. Irrespective of what you're going to see with competitors, which I respect all that, but sometimes it just doesn't fit exactly what you need to do with your body type and whatever challenges you may have. So feel free to put one foot back in your shooting stance when you're learning to shoot. Coming up, same thing. No difference in how you bring the gun up, out, very little movement, bending forward, everything's good and solid, making the shot from this position right here. Stance. Seen all these kind of things? Can you use this stance right here? This is what's called a Weaver stance. This is pretty much disparaged by some of the top shooters now, but the reality is if you're bullseye shooting, you need to get into position. It doesn't hurt to practice from this angle, from this type of position right here, because there is some value in it. But as far as you learning right now, the best possible way to learn your shooting is with your feet squared or one slightly back, where you can bring that gun up out of the holster, straight out, no movement in your head, and fire from this position right here. It's solid from here to here, down to your feet. Solid platform. Everything you've learned up here plays together to put that shot on target. and I'll show you what it looks like actually shooting. I'll be shooting for accuracy, just like I showed you a minute ago. A solid platform, as little movement as possible to get on target. I did that just exactly the way I showed you through all that explanation a few minutes ago. It's that quick, it's that easy. Coming up, solid platform, your posture solid, and bringing your gun up with as little movement as possible from your head. That's the most efficient, the fastest way. When you're learning to shoot, there's not a better way to learn accuracy. I'll show you from the side here. Finally, this time I'll be shooting this last silhouette on the left-hand side, the same as last time. It'll give you a different angle view of me standing and shooting, same way. Solid platform, everything working together up here, minimal movement. All of that is what gives you the solid results that you're looking for when learning to use a gun, when learning your shooting, when developing your accuracy, is getting your platform solid. Everything up here working together and minimal movement from holster to target to get your shot in the bullseye or on a tactical target. Posture and stance working together provide the platform for everything you've learned up here. I'm Mark Rogers, and I'll see you in the next video on target placement for accuracy. As you develop your shooting skills, how far do you put that target away when you start out? We're going to talk about that next. I'll see you very soon in the next video.